Brothers, let us destroy this alien filth.
Dawn of War fans will be eating really well right now with the release of the definitive edition of Dawn of War and also the announcement of Dawn of War 4. We'll be covering both today in this video, but of course we'll be starting with the Dawn of War definitive edition, featuring the original Dawn of War and all its expansions, along with enhanced visuals, an improved camera, and a 64-bit platform support. You'll be able to experience the Warhammer 40,000 Classic in all its blood-soaked glory, including its 4 complete campaigns, 9 fully fledged factions, and over 100 maps, all in one game. Upon its release in 2024, Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War quickly established itself as one of the all-time great real-time strategy games, and the definitive edition celebrates this seminal Warhammer title with updates that refine the experience for modern hardware and secures the game's legacy for years to come. The new definitive edition delivers image-based lighting and upgraded unit textures, enhancing the overall presentation. Improved world lighting, unit reflections, and more detailed shadows, surface gloss, and emissive lighting makes for a superior experience, all while retaining the classic Dawn of War feel. The developers have added pathfinding updates, and units in the game have received texture upscaling of at least 4 times their original units, enabling easier unit management and readability. Now on a 64-bit platform to support the ongoing efforts of the modding community, the definitive edition also includes an integrated mod manager and is compatible with over 20 years of lovingly crafted community mods. The game is already looking very popular, and Steam reviews have been mostly positive, which, when you think about it, is pretty huge considering how crazy Steam reviewers can actually be sometimes. Now, if this wasn't enough to get Dawn of War fans hyped, well, there is a promising future ahead, also with the reveal of Dawn of War 4, so let's take a look. In Dawn of War 4, you'll be able to take command of 4 unique factions, including the Adeptus Mechanicus in their series debut. Fight through 70 plus epic campaign missions, as well as the replayable Last Stand, skirmish, as well as multiplayer modes. I kind of can't believe it, 70 campaign missions, finally, an RTS coming soon that gets its player base. Campaigns have always been the bedrock of RTS games, and since developers have forgotten that, the genre has really taken a decline. But by the looks of it, Dawn of War 4 is looking to set the record straight. Alongside the Adeptus Mechanicus, you'll be able to take charge of the Space Marines, Orcs, and Necrons. Each faction grants you total control of a unique collection of commanders, units, buildings, and gameplay mechanics that dramatically alter the feel and flow of Warhammer 40,000's endless brutal warfare. Co-written by the legendary Black Library author John French, Dawn of War 4's epic story represents the biggest Dawn of War saga to date. In solo or co-op play, command each faction through its own dedicated campaign, supported by spectacular CGI intros and fully animated cutscenes. For me, this is promising all the right things. A huge campaign, in fact 4 of them, with the ability to even play them through co-op. The series returns to its roots with classic Dawn of War gameplay and a combat system designed to bring Warhammer 40,000's bloodthirsty combat to life like never before. Grow your force, build your base of operations, specialize your squads, and savor an expanded sync-kill system that delivers an unprecedented degree of melee combat detail. I have been told that melee units will have unique animations when they engage against each other, which creates a huge amount of authenticity and uniqueness to each battle. The fan-favorite Last Stand game mode returns, with also highly configurable AI battles in skirmish mode, giving the solo mode of Dawn of War experience an even bigger boost outside of the campaign. If you're a multiplayer enjoyer too, take on the world in 1v1, 2v2, and 3v3 game modes. With so much on offer with Dawn of War 4, if the developers at King Art can deliver, we could be looking at an absolutely phenomenal real-time strategy game. Just to reiterate, I did say the developers at King Art, because whilst you may remember them as the developers of Iron Harvest, they are taking over the reins and are developing Dawn of War 4. If they can really double down on the quality of their previous RTS releases, especially when it comes down to campaigns, we are going to be in for an absolute treat. I can't wait to share more about the game when I can, but until then, make sure you wishlist the game on Steam to give it the biggest possible boost we can from the community. It's completely free, of course, so you've got nothing to lose. Now, moving from one project to another, if you've been enjoying the content on the channel, make sure that you've subscribed to the channel and that you've hit the notification bell so that you get a bit of a ding dong when I do upload the next video, which I'm sure you'll be interested in. With that, you'll be able to stay up to date with the latest strategy game news. As always, thanks for the support. DORF Strategic Conflict. A game that has been under the spotlight for all the good reasons. It's a return to classic RTS action, where you'll be able to take command of one of 3 very unique factions in a very twisted version of the future, corrupted by genetic experiments, endless warfare, and extraterrestrial anomalies. One of the best features of D.O.R.F so far has got to be how wild the battles are looking, with a whole host of various types of units with differing firepower. With all that said, this segment for updating you about D.O.R.F is all about unit movements, and in particular, movement over terrain. D.O.R.F now makes use of 3-dimensional tilting sprites rendered from different angles, which is essentially all technical jargon to say that units now follow contours of the terrain. Many RTS games ignore these aspects of unit mobility altogether, but with D.O.R.F, it looks like that anything that would make an RTS game just that much more fun and immersive to play, they are looking to include. This feature is undoubtedly going to make for some absolutely awesome looking battles, which is what I would say D.O.R.F is all about. A variety of different units, both wild and recognizable, all that now follow the terrain and map dynamics incredibly well. It's not even just the ground units that are making use of these features, but also aircraft, which just goes to show how much detail the developers are putting into making D.O.R.F. The next topic for update for D.O.R.F are the resources and logistics. The developers did release a clip about it, and from what I've uncovered so far, it's that D.O.R.F's economy is looking pretty complex, where you'll have to gather, refine, and combine resources to usable forms. There are several buildings you'll need as part of logistics in D.O.R.F, including the headquarters, a materials processing building, power station, academy, oil rig, oil refinery, motorworks, fuel silo, steel mill, and well, these buildings can be connected also through pipelines. You can transfer materials from one building to another and from storage facilities via forklifts and other such vehicles. It sounds like a lot, but never fear, you'll have supply trucks and forklifts to navigate resources between them, and well, whilst there are 5 resources in total, there are 2 main ones, materials and fuel, at least in terms of the ones that you can extract from the maps. These 2 resources are acquired by harvesting and refining crude oil, but regardless of all of this, whilst it does look relatively complicated, it has been made mention that a lot of the materials transporting and such like can be automated, so it doesn't become too tedious for the players. It's important to note that a fellow content creator, Paraphilosoph, has also released a recent video about D.O.R.F, which actually includes a developer question and answer session. It was incredibly informative, and if you're interested in D.O.R.F, I would really recommend checking it out. I'll leave a link in the video description for where you can find it. Now, many of you will know that I am an incredibly big fan of the Age of Empires series, and in particular, Age of Empires 4. And it's just been announced that you can not only play the game on PC, but now also on the PlayStation 5. In addition, there's going to be a new DLC coming out in the next few months. This will feature 4 new variant civilizations, the Golden Horde, Sengoku Daimyo, Tughlaq Dynasty, and the Macedonian Dynasty, bringing in new units, heroes, buildings, resources, and more. That's not even where things will end for this DLC, as there will also be a new roguelite single-player game mode called the Crucible. It's where you will face hordes of enemies vying to destroy your wonder, protect your wonder for as long as you possibly can, but also explore the map for optional objectives and select between various boons to support you in your mission. Another game that's been on my radar for quite some time is Defcon Zero, an RTS that is still in early stages of development but looks very promising and is starting to now publish more regular video updates, and today we have some to show. A game which seems to adhere to a lot more of a realistic unit scale. You can expect to find big ass tanks demolishing everything in their way, but also your smaller infantry units bunkering down into gunfights. Not to mention, Defcon Zero has always been pretty cool with its buildings and construction animations. But aside from just that, we now have some details also about the resources system, which is quite typical and familiar for a classic RTS. You earn money by harvesting resources scattered around the map using the Mule, a massive heavily armored machine designed to break down rocks and extract raw materials. It's expensive to build, but tough to destroy. Once the mules get to work, haulers come in. They are the transport trucks that move resources from the mule to the refinery, which serves as the drop-off point back at the base. Whoever is ready to sacrifice his life for freedom will break the chains of oppression, and that is what is symbolized by the resistance faction in Red Chaos, the Strict Order. Fans of the Command & Conquer style real-time strategy games will be very pleased to hear about this game being developed by Square Cut Games. After a total world war devastated the Earth, a place called Greenland was spared from contamination and destruction. As the Lords of War became aware of the extent of the destruction, they agreed on a truce and discussed the establishment of a common world order. Greenland was to be the site of the New World government. However, instead of building a just society, the powerful grew in power while the civilians were oppressed and neglected by the Iron Hand regime. Amid this dissatisfaction, former generals, soldiers, and other rebellious citizens formed a resistance. Although their resources are limited, they use their military experience and skills to build a powerful army. The struggle between the resistance and the Iron Hand is one of sacrifice, deception, and strategic choices. The resistance fights not only against the physical superiority of the Iron Hand, but also against the suppression of their ideals and values. With a classic approach to real-time strategy, you'll be gathering resources, building bases, and producing units for battle in either campaigns, skirmishes, or online multiplayer game modes. With a wide variety of unit types from rocketeers, artillery tanks, explosive drones and trucks, floating buses tossing out exploding barrels, to super weapons of orbital plasma cannon strikes, triple airstrikes, and tactical nukes, there's a lot of cool ways to destroy your enemies in Red Chaos, the Strict Order. To pay for these units, you'll need to gather resources using harvesters, use engineers to capture oil towers on the map, or build resource generating structures once you've unlocked them. Repair your structures or units at a cost using top bar abilities, use scouting tools to discover your enemy's tactics, place a variety of defensive turret structures, and unlock ultimate abilities to really take control of the battlefield. Something that certainly adds a little spice to Red Chaos the Strict Order is also that many of the units you can make have activatable abilities. These abilities are not so intrusive as to completely overrun a battle, and they do have a cooldown attached to them, but they are a nice addition to a battle to make things interesting. Having looked through the gameplay footage and information that we have about the game so far, I've definitely put it on my wish list. I certainly can't wait for the release of this one. And I won't have to wait too long because it will be released in September 2025. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video today, covering some of the latest news about new RTS games on the horizon, and also just updating some that are in development. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. More importantly, perhaps consider sharing the video with someone who you think might find it quite useful and interesting. Either way, take care and see you next time.